Welcome. Welcome to Soul Reading with Sandra. We're going to read a new book today. Yes. I'm so happy to be here as part of this new experience. Yes. Part of I've read this book on Instagram before. It's called Divine Design. It's by Loire. It's wonderful to be able to read. I know that most of us think that our spiritual. Read a new book today. Hold on a second. Yes, let me just. Okay. Now, I think I am ready to go. I am embarking on a new process, stepping into new doors that open me and broaden not only myself and uh, give me a higher awareness of sharing what the divine has called me to share. Right? So let me first say, I attune myself to the creative impulses that indwell in me and seek to express in, through, and as me as I read this book. It's not a new book, but on YouTube, I am reading it for the first time. Instagram, I have read it already through, and the divine says to read it through again. So thank you very much for joining me in this process. And it's a restream. I'm learning how to use my restream and reading on 2 different platforms. So I'm going to begin. And I'm going to begin with her introduction, who she's dedicating this book to, right? Understand that Lori Ladd was on vacation. She was in a most spiritual ley-line place, and the divine came to her through her guides and said, you're going to write a channeled message, and then it's going to be a book. And all she said is, let it be so. She never thought that when she went on vacation, she was going to be writing a book, let alone a channeled book. Right? So we're going to begin. Anybody that's coming in, The Divine Design by Lori Ladd. She says, I dedicate this book to all the courageous humans navigating their miraculous evolution. Thank you for your courage and your commitment and compassion to take one step in front of the other and lead I'm so excited. Lead humanity in a new world. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. So here we go. Chapter 1. It's called The Design of the New Earth. It was channeled that the first design of humanity was in 5th density. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. It's a reading. It's information that is infinite possibility. So however you are waking up and however you need to discern what your growth and expansion process is, the divine has given us all the information we ever needed. It's encoded and locked in us. And sometimes the people that are awakening for certain purposes to help move and shift humanity, to help move and shift Earth consciousness. So we are going to begin with chapter 1. Okay. So I'm just slowly turning the pages because I enjoyed this. I've enjoyed this book. And when I first read it, before I even read it, the divine said, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Not everything is in it for you to believe. Growth and expansion. right? Growth and expansion. So it says the divine design of 5D Earth. Let us start from the beginning. All consciousness begins or began from the first or the same source, which many in your field of consciousness refer to as God. Source is a word used by the human to attempt to understand beginning of consciousness. It allows the human to hold or conceptualize the unnameable. Words are conceived within the dimensions one finds themselves in. Words are conceived within the dimension of one that one finds itself in. The divine wanted me to say that again. Blessings, Kareem. Consciousness itself does not have a word associated with it. The human needs words to understand its experience. Throughout this book, we will use human words to describe that which has no name. Remember, this is a channeled book written by Loire. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Source exists as a vibration, a soul tone, a single breath that never stops, a heartbeat that continues to expand. Source is a single vibration that has no beginning and no end. Source is a single vibration that has no beginning and no end. The divine wanted me to say that again to you. There is no definition, no description, and no label. Source just is. It exists in no time or space, and yet it holds everything. It is a concept, one that a human mind grapples with because source is beyond experience. I'm going to read that again. It exists in no time and no space. It holds everything. Divine wants you to understand that it holds everything and nothing at all at the same time. It is a concept that the human mind grapples with because source is beyond experience. It is all and nothing at the same time. Humans have touched the spark of source, entering its own unified field of nothingness. When the human consciousness enters it, there is a feeling of complete bliss and oneness. These are simple words used to describe that which is difficult to describe. Source exists in the space of oneness. It has nothing to experience other than the one unique field of its spark. As one unique field, it can only experience itself by exiting outside itself. Source uses individual sparks of its own consciousness to experience self. It pulsates and splits as it's, let me slow my roll. It pulsates or splits an aspect of its consciousness and sends it into the quantum field. That unique consciousness holds its own energetic frequency based on its energetic spin. The frequency creates an experience. The consciousness that splits from source becomes its own energetic expression with its unique experience. Every individual consciousness existing in the now, including you, is created this way. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Doesn't necessarily have to change the way you have already grown and expanded, what you already think to know and believe as truth. Just take it as another expression of shifting. Let it sift and sort through you and take what resonates from it and leave the rest. So the divine says, let's break this down for you. Consciousness is energy, and energy spins. The spinning of energy creates a frequency that produces a vibrational tone. The frequency dictates the dimension of consciousness it is experiencing. The dimension establishes how consciousness experiences itself. The dimension holds a spectrum of consciousness to be experienced within itself. The spectrum of consciousness is the available experience a consciousness, or you can substitute yourself for that, can access. The higher in the dimensional field, the smaller the range of consciousness and the fewer experiences a consciousness will have to experience. The lower in the dimensional field, the lower the spectrum of consciousness and the more experiences a consciousness remember, that can be you called consciousness, will have to experience. It is the divine looking outside of itself to experience itself through you, a unique entity of the divine. They go on to say, for instance, in the third dimensional field, the human can access thousands of consciousnesses. And remember, there are consciousnesses that didn't want to come in human form, but they wanted to participate in third density. And they became the situations, the circumstances, and the objects of desire. So in explaining that, I'll go back and read the sentence in its entirety. For instance, in the third dimensional field, the human can access thousands of consciousnesses to create an experience. They can access fear, love, joy, peace, and so on. So the joy is a consciousness. Peace is a consciousness. Love is a consciousness. Fear is a consciousness. Hate is a consciousness. Envy, strife, malice is a consciousness. Joy, peace, wholeness, grace, they're all consciousness. Consciousness is wanting to play on your playground that you get to choose to be in. And they will say, your wish is my command. However, in a higher dimensional field like the 5D, the spectrum of consciousness is not as large, and thus there is less consciousnesses for the human to access in order to experience itself. The 5D field does not hold fear, greed, lack, control, and so on. Take what resonates, because other people have told you that the 5D field holds that. And if you want to hold that in a 5-dimensional consciousness looking at 3D, the consciousness just says, let it be so. And the divine says, and so it is. As source begins splitting itself into unique consciousnesses, these energetic expressions of source began to play within a quantum field. The quantum field is an energetic space holding or allowing infinite possibilities of expressions through frequency and dimension. All that ever is, was, or will be resides in the quantum field. All consciousnesses that split from source exist in the quantum field. Every experience that has, could, or will be experienced in or is experienced is held in the quantum field. All dimensional fields exist with the quantum field. There are an infinite amount of experiences that can be had within the quantum field. The quantum field holds universal laws, allowing consciousness to understand how it experiences itself. These universal laws are natural ways of being once separation from source begins. We want to expand on two universal laws: free will and the energetic field. These are two. Free will is one, and the energetic field is the other. Free will allows for all consciousness to create its own unique expression through its choice in frequency and dimensional field. The energetic field surrounds each consciousness as soon as they split from source. The energetic field allows each consciousness to experience the quantum field in a sovereign energetic container. Sovereignty provides safety. Sovereignty provides for safety. Sovereignty is your free will right as a spiritual being outside of the creative being that is the spiritual being. Wow. A sovereign consciousness is held in a safe field of its own light without any interference. Other consciousnesses cannot impact a sovereign consciousness within the quantum field unless it chooses to be impacted. There you go. Anything that happens to you is because you're choosing it, whether you're conscious of it or not. And if you choose it, then the consciousness that is playing in that energy field with you, or that wants to come play in that energy field, gets invited by you. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Consciousnesses cannot impact a sovereign consciousness within the quantum field unless it chooses to be impacted, right? In the quantum field, consciousness is free to create any experience and to be any expression. It does this by shifting its frequency through intention and energy. Intention and energy. That's how the divine created itself outside of itself, intention and energy. And that's how we create within ourselves, called manifestation. That's how we sift and sort through what we want to feel, by how we feel and the emotions that we have. And if it doesn't feel good to us, then we say, next thought. Next. Ooh, this one. It feels good. Let's play with it. And intention plus energy, your energy, you were born with it. You're a sovereign being. You got it in you. Creates the consciousness that you're going to play in. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. I'm still reading the book. It's just down here on my desk. It chooses what it wants to experience, the intention, and that's in parentheses, the word intention, and shifts its frequency, and in parentheses it's called energy, to enter the dimensional field to allow that experience and expression. It's all choice. Nothing's happening randomly. The universe is giving us exactly what we want, whether we're conscious of it or not. Once consciousness understands how the quantum field works, it can experience and play in lower dimensional fields. Remember, we come from a much higher dimensional field than 5D, but Earth consciousness wanted to start shifting and evolving in 5D. This book will give us its journey from 5D into 3D. Okay, so once consciousness understands the quantum field work, how it works, it can experience and play in the lower dimensional fields. The lower fields allow for more experiences. Like we said above, the lower a dimension, the lower a dimension, the larger the spectrum of consciousness and the more to feel and experience. So in chapter 1.1, they're going to explain the intention and the experiment. Hold on to your hats. The consciousness that is known as Earth split from Source at one moment and used intent and energy to create her current experience and experiment. They said experience and experiment. They said we would like to point out the distinction between the higher dimensional consciousness that created this experience and the planetary body holding that consciousness. We will refer to the higher dimensional consciousness as Earth, she or her, and we will be referring to Earth's form as the Earth plane or Earth planet. Just as you refer to me as Sandy, she or her, or human, and refer to my soul, spirit, or higher being. Let's keep going. Earth as the higher dimensional consciousness split from Source and was experiencing itself in many different frequencies, forms, and dimensional fields. She decided she wanted to play in a lower dimensional field. She wanted to experience shifting within lower dimensional fields while in a physical form. She wanted to enter into a fifth dimensional form called Earth plane within a 5D field and experience shifting into a seventh dimensional field with the same form. The Earth plane would shift frequencies and dimensions while Earth as a higher dimensional consciousness would experience that shift within the Earth plane. This experience had never been done before. If a consciousness wanted to move from one dimensional field to another, it will instantly shift its frequency into or to enter into and become another dimensional field. The consciousness as an entire energetic body moves from one field to another. What made this experience so unique was that Earth as a consciousness, and that's with a capital C, would exist within a physical form. Remember, her physical form is called Earth or planet Earth or Earth plane. And the planet would move her into higher dimensional fields. Just like me, Sandy, with my body, moving my higher being from the living room to the bedroom, using my feet. It was the planet that would shift, not Earth consciousness. Earth was merely experiencing the shift through the physical form. This shift has been referred to as evolution in consciousness. Okay, are we ready for chapter 1.2? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Chapter 1.2 is called, What is the Evolution in Consciousness? Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Remember, this doesn't mean you have to change all your belief patterns all in one fell swoop. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Evolution is the process of energy moving from a lower frequency and dimensional field to the next highest frequency and dimensional field. The Earth and all higher dimensional consciousnesses incarnated on the earth plane to experience an evolutionary or evolution through physical form. The experience of evolution is similar to driving a car. The earth and the human or higher dimensional consciousness are pushing on the gas, but it is the car or the human body and the planetary body that is speeding up and taking the human and earth for a ride. The physical form takes earth and the higher dimensional consciousness on a ride into the next higher dimensional field. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Earth and the higher dimensional consciousness will be experiencing the fifth, sixth, and seventh dimensional field without being anchored in the dimensional field. They remain as their higher dimensional consciousness within the human form, yet they can experience lower dimensional fields through the physical form. So, because Earth consciousness, the higher being, Earth consciousness, took on a form body called planet Earth and is shifting and evolving to fourth or to sixth density, seventh density. They're doing it while they're conscious. It's not like being in 3D and being unawares or asleep or in a containment of forgetfulness. They remember exactly who they are, where they came from, and what they are doing. They remember that they are divinely connected to the divine that is seeking itself outside of itself, being a instrument of itself in individuality. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Evolution is experienced through steps. It occurs energetically and cannot be manipulated. It is the natural process of, I'm going to slow my roll on this one. It is the natural process of energy increasing in form. It begins and ends the same way for Earth and all higher dimensional consciousness in physical form. There are 4 steps. The first step is called acclimation. ACCLIMATION, assimilation, ASSIMILATION, tapping, TAPPING, and anchoring, ANCHORING, in the sentence with a period. Now they're going to briefly explain each of the 4 steps briefly. So chapter 1.3 is called 4 Steps of Evolution. First step, remember we said it was acclimation. The first step in evolution is acclimation. The physical form continuously receives high frequency light from the sun. As the light enters the form, it begins to acclimate. Remember, this is this whole experiment or expression started at 5th density. Okay, so the body is different than having a 3rd density body. It's more light oriented. It begins to acclimate. Acclimation occurs when the physical form slows down the high frequency light to receive into the body. I'm going to read that again, and I'll just read it continuously. The first step in evolution is acclimation. The physical form continuously receives high frequency light from the sun. As the light enters the form, it begins to acclimate it. Acclimation occurs when the physical form slows down the high frequency light to receive into the body. If the frequency of the light is too high, the body won't be able to access the light and use it to shift into a higher frequency. The light will dissolve the body. If the body acclimates it, it will settle into the physical body. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Assimilation. Number 2. Once the physical form acclimates to light, the body begins to assimilate it. Assimilation occurs when the physical form integrates the higher frequency light into the lower frequency light within the body. The higher frequency light then either pushes the density or lower frequency light out of the body and merges the denser light into higher, frequency light. Either way, the physical form begins to increase its frequency as the lower density is moved out of the form or is integrated into light or higher light. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Acclimation and assimilation occur naturally. The physical body design is evolved, or let me include the word that I just left out. Oh, my higher being is on a, slow down, slow your roll, Sandy. So I'm going to slow my roll. The physical body is designed to evolve. We're designed to evolve. It knows how to shift the light within its form into the next highest dimensional field. However, evolution requires the physical form and the higher dimensional consciousness within the form to work together. The physical form will hold higher frequencies of light, but the higher dimensional consciousness within the form, the earth, and the human must consciously participate in evolution. So nothing happens randomly. And life isn't doing anything to you. It's doing everything because of you. Because you're participating in life regardless of whether you're conscious or not. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. They must choose to experience and tap into the next highest frequency and dimensional field. They also must feel and experience the denser, lower frequency light moving out of the body or merging into the higher light. The physical form acclimates to and assimilates the higher frequency, but the higher dimensional consciousnesses must choose, feel, and experience the energy shift. So your higher being is even though it's in the car, it's not just riding in the car. It's feeling and expressing the shifting. Okay, tapping into the next dimensional field is I'm sorry, let me slow. So number 3 is called tapping, TAPPING. And I know you think about tapping like this, right? Right? And that's a form of tapping. Tapping into the next dimensional field is an essential step in evolution. As the physical form holds more light, the human aspect and the earth can feel and experience the next highest frequency and dimensional field. The ego and personality, and in 5th density, the ego has a different role than what we experience ego as in the 3D. They'll explain that. The ego and personality must begin to tap into and experience the consciousness within the dimension. For instance, when the 5D physical form is anchored into the 5D field, it will experience and create from this field. The body is holding the 5D frequency. As the form begins to assimilate and acclimate to light, it starts to hold higher frequencies of light, allowing the human to naturally tap into the next highest dimensional field, which would be, for example, 6D, or the sixth dimensional field. The human begins to be and feel the higher frequencies and higher states of consciousness within that dimension. They feel it within their body because their body is holding the frequency. All that is experienced during evolution is in the body. Tapping into higher frequency of light and the next dimensional field allows the human and earth to participate or practice being in a higher state of consciousness. The fourth is called anchoring. As the physical form continues to acclimate and assimilate more light, tapping into the next dimensional field, the physical form will anchor into that field. The physical form must hold over 80% of the frequency of that dimensional field to anchor into the next highest dimensional field. Once the body is anchored into a new dimensional field, it will physically stand in that field. The human or the Earth's reality is that dimensional field. For instance, a fifth dimensional, or I'm sorry, let me slow my roll again. A 5D physical form is holding 100% 5D frequency. As the body begins to acclimate and assimilate more light, the percentage shifts into 95% 5D and 5% 6D. The more light the body holds, the more percentage shifts towards 6D frequency until eventually the body holds 80% 6D. Once this occurs, the body is anchored into the sixth dimensional field. The form is holding a majority of sixth dimensional frequency and physically standing in the 6D field. The human's entire reality is every now moment is seen through the lens of 6D. The physical form is in the quantum field. Therefore, at this point, it can stand and see the fifth dimension, but the form is anchored and standing in the 6D field. And remember, again, when Earth consciousness wanted to express, wanted to shift and evolve, she wanted to start at 5D. That's for me, it makes so much sense. It makes so much sense because I can understand my higher being and its movement as it moved through all its stories before me, before this body. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Right? Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Okay. This process is how evolution occurs for both the earth plane and the human form. There is acclimation of light. We're repeating it. Acclimation of light, assimilation of light, tapping into the next highest dimensional field, and then anchoring into that field. The divine says we created the 12D grid to allow all physical forms to connect and anchor into the next dimensional field effortlessly. Okay. Next is welcome in. Welcome into this reading. I am once again reading hold on a second. I get excited about this book, The Divine Design by Loire Ladd. I am not in collaboration with Loire Ladd in reading of this book. So if you go to her space, you will not find my reading there. You can find me on Soul Awakening with Sandra through my Instagram or through YouTube. And maybe eventually it'll be on my Spotify. I'm not sure. Or maybe not my Spotify. Maybe I'll start reading on TikTok. Right? Okay, so chapter 1.4. They call it Choosing the 5D Field. Remember, this is a channeled book that was written through Loire Ladd. They channeled through Loire Ladd, and she wrote the book for them. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If you want to hold on to the writings of the Bible or the Quran or whatnot, stay there. Just take it in, make it a possibility, and see what resonates for you, and leave the rest behind. I'm not reading this to change your mind. I'm reading this so that you have options. Okay. Choosing the 5D field. Earth chose the 5th dimension for a few reasons. It is the lowest dimensional field of consciousness. Oh, hold on. I'm going to slow my roll. It is the lowest dimensional field, there's the what was missed. A consciousness can enter into that provides a physical form without duality. The 5D field allowed Earth consciousness to stay connected to the higher aspects of herself, including Source, including her blueprint and the quantum field. So she had all knowledge, even though she lowered into a dimensional field that was lower than where she came from. She had a recall, and she was totally connected with the divine. Okay. The 5D field also provided Earth a large variety of consciousnesses to experience and create from the now. So, like I've always said, think of it as the playground. And she's asking Divine Source, can my friends, my consciousness, the other consciousness, can they come play with me? Can they be part of this expression or experience or experiment? And Mommy and Daddy Source said, yeah, invite your friends. Right? When consciousness is in a 4D field or lower, there is a high probability of amnesia. Amnesia is experienced when a consciousness is in a dimensional field that is dense enough to create a feeling of separation from Source and the quantum field. Imagine dimensions as a light that dims. As consciousnesses move into lower dimensions, the light begins to dim. And the consciousness has a more challenging time staying connected, seeing who it is and what it is choosing. It forgets how consciousness works, where it originated from, and why it is where it is. I'm still reading. They go on to say, in addition, the density within fields that are 4D and lower creates duality. Take the period, take a pause. I had to take that pause and I had to think about it. Whew. Right? Duality increases the variety of conscious experienced within the field. However, it also provides denser consciousnesses such as control, tyranny, and greed. Remember, earlier in the book, we said that consciousnesses that wanted to come and play in Earth Consciousness's playground didn't only want to take human form, but they did want to play. So they became the situations, circumstances, feelings, and emotions that we get to experience. Duality creates good and bad, right and wrong, positive and negative. Earth wanted to be in a physical form, experiencing the lowest dimensional field without duality, while still staying connected to her higher dimensional consciousness and the quantum field and her knowingness of who she was and connected to source. That's why she chose 5D, because that's as low as she could go. So she could experience shifting and evolving up the polarity vibration. The 5D field allowed for all of this. And so she began her experiment in 5D, or in the 5D. Right? Chapter 1.5 gives another aspect. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. But this is a channeling. This is the divine channeling through Loire Ladd, explaining it in our words. Going in and finding our phrases, our commas. Right? So 1.5 is called, or chapter 1.5 is called Creating the Galactic Federation of Light. Earth sent out an energetic call for assistance in creating her experiment and for guidance through the experiment. It's just like you go into work, sitting down, you're new at work, and what your job tells you is any problems that you have with your computer, we have an IT system. You need to rebuild something, you need to take something away or add something to it. That's who you call. So she called her galactic or her cosmic or her spiritual IT team. We are the council of 12 higher dimensional light beings that answered her call, letting you know that there are infinite beings that are the expression of the divine that already existed before Earth. Why is this being told? It's because you're always asking. Humanity wanted to know if we're the only one out there. And the divine said, let it be so. Let me tell you. You take what resonates from any book, any, let me slow my roll, any book, any audio, any speech, any workshops, anything. You take it with a grain of salt. You take it in and you see if you can assimilate it. and acclimate it and tap into it and then anchor with it and then grow, then shift and evolve. You get to make that choice, free will. They're just giving you the information. Why? Because you asked. So they're telling you who they are, who's translating or channeling through Lori Ladd as she's writing this. They tell you that through your language, through your choice of acronyms and informational phrases, we call ourselves the Federation or the Galactic Federation of Light. We found those words that vibrate most with our articulation of who we are. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. We needed much more assistance designing the experiment and ensuring Earth would be safe to navigate the experience or the experiment. We had thousands of higher dimensional consciousnesses from many different dimensional fields answer the call. Most of these were light beings from larger collective consciousnesses existing between the 9th and the 24th dimensional fields. Grapple, hold on to the infinite possibility of the divine. We like to do it in numbers, but the divine is infinite. So the divine is putting it in our terminology and using our numerology to try to explain to you itself. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. As these beings, as beings, were forming into one large federation, we created councils. The councils allowed for groups of beings within the Federation to have specific tasks and roles within Earth's large experiment. She said, I want to go big. I want to shift and evolve into the next higher dimension. And I want to do it I want to call as many friends as I can. Infinite possibilities, baby. The council allowed for groups of beings within the Federation to have specific tasks and roles within Earth's large experiment. Each council contained about 120 beings. 12 beings were in charge of each council, and each being had 10 beings assisting them. Our council of 12 oversaw all councils within the Federation. There are councils focused on technology to assist in clearing Earth's density. There are councils focused on the security of Earth, ensuring her physical form remains intact. There are councils focused on activating and upgrading Earth and humanity. There are councils focused on assisting all of the physical forms on the earth other than the human. Councils focused on assisting specific light. Workers incarnated in human form, working in large communities such as governments, religious, financial, and scientific. They were higher beings. This was all in 5D. What makes you think that it would be any different in 3D? And the lower the polarity, the more experiences you're going to experience, and the more duality you're going to have. The council and all light beings within each council played a significant role in Earth's evolution. Right? So tomorrow, join me as I go to chapter 1.6 called Creating, right? 5D Earth Plane. Join me. You can either find this on, hold on. You can either find this on Soul Awakening with Sandra, my Instagram, or it will be in YouTube as well. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. This is the beginning of Earth consciousness desire to have a form body and to shift and expand, grow, understand itself, and then evolve. We get to find out that my infinite possibility of understanding this all started at 5D, and it made sense. But you get to take what resonates and grow and expand the way you want to, the way it most helps you to grow and expand. And if this doesn't, don't receive. Is it easy as that? Yes, it is just that simple. You take what resonates, grow and expand, shift and evolve, and then you ask another question. If you're here listening to this, if you're listening to it in a replay, it's because you asked a question and the divine led you here. But just because the divine led you here does not mean that everything that I just read is for your highest and greatest good. Right? But it helps me to understand, and it helps me make sense of why I was so sci-fi. Why looking at Star Trek and stars and a lot of sci-fi movies, why that felt so real. Why it resonated deep inside me. Take what resonates for you. So I will be back tomorrow. And I will be reading again through my restream. Join me. Thank you for joining me. One love. The Divine Design by Loire. And this is, I am not in collaboration with Loire. I'm just reading her book. And some people love to be read to. If you're here and you stay tuned, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. One love.